great news because the studio is underway. We are going to be back
Let's go,
guys, pretty soon, which is so exciting. I miss everyone, but we're still going to deliver today. We got a packed show, so I got to introduce the guys. We got one of the most prolific figures in the history of sports media and the man who's never lost a debate, Skip Bayless.
Yep.
Our Super Bowl champion, 5-time Pro Bowler, and 2-time All-Pro cornerback, Aqib Talib.
Yeah, let's go, Aqib.
The king of quarterback breakdowns and top 5 passer in USC Trojan history, Cody Kessler.
Go, Cody.
And 3-time Pro Bowler and Super Bowl winning safety, TJ Ward.
Yes, sir, TJ.
How are the guys doing today?
Great. So, Cody, or all of you guys, oops, hang on. Sorry, you guys still there?
We
Yeah,
here.
Oh, sorry, I just had a big faux pas here. Hang on.
We here,
Lost
Skip.
my camera. Hang on, let me see if I can get this. I may have to hold on to it. You got me?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. I hope this will stay. So as long as you guys just don't make me talk about the Dallas Cowboys today, I'm going to be just fine.
I got bad news for you, Skip.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I got a lot of bad news for you today, actually, I think. But we'll see how it goes.
All right.
All right. Well, let's get into it then. We got a packed show. We're going to be recapping all the news, starting, of course, with Pickens and him getting franchise tag. Then we got Sean Payton is giving up play calling, which is wild. And we're going to debate who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Browns next year. So as always, you guys, this episode is presented by Underdog. Underdog is available in most states, including Texas, California, and Florida. New customers get $75 in bonus entries when you play just $5. To get started, use code GRID when you sign up and it'll load instantly. Underdog, make picks, win money with code GRID. So sorry, Skip. We're going to start off. We'll get it out of the way for you.
Yeah, okay.
Bad stuff because we talked about this on Monday and what was going to happen. And of course, they tagged Pickens. So he's going to make $28 million this season, but he's going to be losing out on a lot of money. So, and one thing that could potentially impact the future contract is that we know that Pickens and Parsons have the same agent, and we know how that's going to go with Jerry Jones. So I think all around, there's going to be a little drama surrounding this. So, Skip, was it the right move by the Cowboys to place the franchise tag on Pickens?
Kinsey, as Aqib knows, I do not love this. This, for me, is a ticking time bomb of controversy and George Pickens' unhappiness that I feel like could linger through the whole year. And I'm going to remind everybody, this is still Pickens that the great Mike Tomlin gave up on because of immaturity issues, gave away to my Dallas Cowboys for a 3rd-round pick. And of course, we said happy days are here again. And even as George Pickens was flashing that incredible downfield receiving talent, leading the NFL in yards per catch, he flashed all of the immaturity issues that Mike Tomlin got rid of him because of. He was late to meetings. He missed the team bus to Las Vegas on that Monday night. And in the end, I don't care what you say, in the turning point game of the year, that Thursday night at Detroit, after we had beaten last year's Super Bowl teams back-to-back, the Eagles, and then obviously the Chiefs, George Pickens he did not give max effort in that game that Thursday night, and my guy Richard Sherman blasted him for it after the game on Amazon Prime. And now this same guy, coming off a 7-9-1 season, wants to be the highest paid receiver, and he can certainly statistically make that case. They have tagged him, and as Kinsey just pointed out, he's represented by the very same agent that Jerry would not deal with during the Micah stalemate that led to Micah being now a Green Bay Packer. And so what's to love about this? Because it's just going to be Pout City. I look at it, everything's just so Dallas Cowboys right now because we have the highest paid player in all of pro football in Dak Prescott. We have the highest paid interior offensive lineman in all of pro football, and Tyler Smith. We have CD, the third highest paid receiver. If George Pickens, even at 28 million under the tag, he's going to be the fourth highest paid receiver just off the tag. And now our kicker wants to be the highest paid kicker. And I'm saying, man, all this added up last year to 7, 9, and 1. And obviously say it's because you had the all-time worst defense in the history of your franchise. Well, okay, now it's time to go fix the defense, but we're going to have a hard enough time keeping the offense together with the highest paid all across the ball. So I just feel stuck. I feel like that this is going to have a very unhappy ending for my Cowboys, and I'm sure Akib is going to see glasses half full here.
Glass always half full.
Yeah.
You know how I do. I think it's a great move by the Cowboys, man. You don't want to change that offense, man. This offense was second in the league last year. They probably was 13th or 14th a year ago. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They up every category. Every offensive category has been improved this year. And with the middle of the pack defense shit, they would have won 10 games this year. But you can't pay two receivers $100+ million, period. So if you want to shoot your shot again with this offense, you got to tag Pickens. That's what they did. You can easily clear money by just restructuring the guys who you know gonna be there. You know Dak gonna be there. You restructure him. He'd be happy to take $30-40 million right now in March. You restructure CD. He'd be happy to take $30-40 million right now in March. You restructure Tyler Smith. You just drafted him. No, he ain't going nowhere. 3 restructures and you up in $100+ million in cap room. This don't even hurt the cap if you do that. So, hey, man, I love to play by Jerry. Now you still have 2 first-round picks. You're going to create more cap room. Now you still got wiggle room to revamp this defense, like you said, man, with draft picks, with free agents, with a couple of guys who in the building, you could bring back things like that. So I think it's a good move for the Cowboys, man. The defensive coordinator hire was a solid move. Now you get this done, and now you could just focus free agency in the draft on straight defense, man. 3-4 bodies in there, man, and I think the Cowboys on their way.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree with Lee. Like it gives you time. It gives you time to see how next year will play out. You paid your running back, so now your complete offense is coming back. That powerful offense that gave you those 7 to 8 wins last year without a defense at all. Now you can really focus on balancing that budget around the defense, what pieces you need, and then you have a year to see if those pieces work. And then you figure out everything at the end of next year. I think you'll still win 10 games, so you'll have a little cushion to, see what pieces you want to give more money to and what pieces you need to either release or restructure again. So I think it was a fantastic move by the Cowboys. I think they have a very realistic future and where they can be by the end of next season. And you may be able to pay Pickens, and depending on what CD and Dak do with their contracts, you may be able to bring all 3 of them back. But franchise tagging them is a great thing, and it benefits the organization as a whole. So I think it was a great idea.
Mm.
Yeah, I like it as well. And then obviously I'm a former quarterback, so I'm going to see it through Dak Prescott's eyes. You just got him as running back from last year that took a lot of pressure off of him with Javonte Williams to a 3-year deal. Now you franchise George Pickens to pair him up with CeeDee Lamb. That makes you feel really good as a quarterback. And I think Akib made a great point. The fact that the Cowboys have 2 first-round picks, I think, played a major factor in this because they can still restructure. But even though they're $30 million over the salary cap right now, those first-round picks are very beneficial because they don't have to go get free agents and deal with contract negotiations. They can go out and draft 2 defensive players that they think can hopefully fit into this defense with a new defensive coordinator, right? You got Christian Parker coming in, so it's not going to be the same scheme they had last year under Eberflus. So I don't think they have to completely re-identify this defense and create a completely different foundation. They've got some key pieces there with Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark and some other guys on the outside. Now you go add some key players in the draft, restructure some contracts so you have a little wiggle room and free agency to add some other defensive players. But for sure now by franchise tagging George Pickens that your offense is going to be good to go, and you hopefully can get the same production you had last year. So if you are in some of these shootouts, you know Prescott and Williams and CD and these guys can go toe-to-toe with some of these other offenses.
Okay, so Akib, what do you always say about missing OTAs? What do you bet that George Pickens, thanks to David Mulugeta, will miss the OTAs because that's what Micah did, and that's the only way to protest. And I just think he'll miss the entire offseason because he is frustrated under the tag.
Now I talk about missing OTAs at the quarterback position. They're the ones who got to be there. You know what I'm saying? They're the ones who going to make your attendance 90% if they there, and it's going to be about 70% if they not there. Pickens, we know his route. What's his route, Skip? You could say him right now. A slant and a fade. Occasionally we'll run a dig and a stop route. We know his routes. We know his role in the offense. That's the good part about him returning to the same offense. They already know how they want to use him, how they going to use him. You know what I'm saying? So if his agent wants him to not be there just to, make his case stronger, he may not be there, Skip. But I'm telling you, they both understand at the age he is, when you first get to the table, the trouble, let's say the trouble that he brought in the building, missed meetings and missed buses, that might delay your pay schedule for a year. It might happen. Okay, if you was a perfect citizen, you might get paid right now, but you're not. Your pay schedule is delayed for a year. If I could make $30 million while my pay schedule is delayed, then oh well. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be right back at the table next year. I don't think him missing OTAs would be a huge factor in what Dallas is trying to do.
I don't think they miss OTAs. I mean, I think he has a great relation. I think that receiver room, I know that receiver room has a great relationship within each other. Between CD and Pickens, to be specific, but the coach, they have much respect for the coach, and the coach got their back in any situation. I know that for a fact. So I think he'll be at OTAs, and just seeing what they did number-wise last year, why wouldn't you want to improve on that, knowing that with a little improvement, you could go spend every draft pick on defense with the offense you got back. You don't need to do nothing with that offense.
Not one.
Hey, we got 8 picks. We on all defense, every pick. Why not?
Okay.
Like I said, even the franchise tag is not the stigma that it was when,
at
5
all
years ago. Like, they already know what's coming. He gonna get tagged. I'm the number 1 top 2 positions in my group. It's a high likelihood I'm going to get tagged.
So the temperament that we have seen from George Pickens, especially in Pittsburgh and flashes of it last year, how happy do you think he's going to be during the football season, game after game after game, to show up and play for money that he believes is underpaying him? That's the problem, because I don't think he's going to be all in on the season.
He's going to be very happy because in our league, it's always when we play on the field, we playing for the future. You know what I'm saying? Whatever money we earn, but we always playing. Every time we strap up, we play, we get on TV. It's always for the future. You know what I'm saying? So that's what he's playing for. He's playing for the future.
I know what you're saying. I don't know what George Pickens is thinking, because I'll say it again, and I know you disagreed, but my guy Richard Sherman blasted him after that Thursday night game as being or looking uninterested in the turning of the year at Detroit. Was that playing for the future? I don't get it. I'm still like dumbfounded that he didn't show up.
Me and you never sat down and watched that game like we were supposed to. I still want to sit down and watch that game with you.
I just need 3 plays. I saw 3 plays where he just didn't try for balls.
3 plays, then I done seen TJ uninterested. I done been uninterested. Dak done been uninterested. If you took guys off 3 plays a game, Richard Sherman done been uninterested. Everybody's been uninterested because nobody's going to go full blast every play of the game. It don't happen, Skip. It's not realistic. That was Sherman just being the media guy. He needed to bring some views to Amazon. They needed to turn their shit up a little bit. He had to call somebody out. He did what he was supposed to do. We still talking about it. So he did his job.
That was just Richard being Richard and spitting the cold, hard truth after that game, because that's what he saw and that's what I saw. And I was tweeting the same thing during the game.
You go sit down and watch it then. That's what we need to do. We just got to go.
To that point,
And you'll see
clips to fit narratives, right? I could go find all bad plays from George Pickens and say this is why he doesn't deserve to be paid. But then I can also put together his highlight tape of his 50-50 deep balls and the slant routes that he ran and his ability to get open and create separation and say this is why he should be a top 5 paid receiver in the NFL. So it goes both ways, but that's Akeem's point is if you sit down and watch the film in totality from the entire year, he did more than enough to prove that he's a guy, maybe deserves a long-term contract in the future, but a guy that the Cowboys need to do whatever they can to keep him in Dallas. And right now for them, that's a franchise tag because of the other contract situations, but hopefully it works out this year. They open up some more space and they can find a long-term deal in the future. But I do hear what you're saying a little bit, Skip, where if I'm George Pickens, there is the risk of injury, knock on wood. There is the risk of losing production this year, and now your value might go down a little bit in the market. So you have some worrisome issues there. But the way that he had production last year, the offense that they run under Shoddy and Dak Prescott, I don't see him regressing in any way, shape, or form next year in Dallas. And I think, like Akeem said, he'll be right back at the table for another contract.
All right. I hear you, and I hope you're right about this. But Akeem, I'm just going to hit 3 quick plays, and I know you're going to remember them. First play out of the second half. It's still a game at Detroit. Slant to George Pickens, and it hits him right in the hands, and he doesn't seem to want to actually snatch the ball and get both hands and just snatch it, and it gets tipped up into an interception that basically ends the game, if you want to know the truth.
All right. So before we go to the next one, I'm going to rebuttal everyone.
All right. Okay, so then the next one, still third quarter, there's an out route. It's just a simple out route. And the ball's a little short, but he doesn't even try for it. He doesn't dive for it. It's for a Pro Bowl wide receiver, easy play if you care, if you try. And then late third quarter, there's a deep ball where he's got 2 Lions running with him, but they don't see the football, and he appears to see it and just quits on it. He just doesn't try to go get it. It's like, you could just reroute and go get it. He saw it and said, I don't think I'm going to give max effort for this. I don't get it, man.
Yeah, Skip, and you probably don't get it because you ain't never played, Skip. We don't think like that. That's not how professional. We don't play like that. Yeah. We out on the field. You don't think he's trying to go up top and catch a touchdown? Skip, you got to watch the end zone copy. You got to watch the all 22 end zone copy. That ball is 4 yards inside of him. It drops 4 yards inside of him. He actually couldn't get it. And the slant out of halftime, it was a fucking great play by the DB. The DB knew what they like to run. He was sitting in cover 2. He broke on the slant and made a great play. He get past Skip. He actually collects a check every other Wednesday, just like Pickens, believe it or not. You know
okay, so I didn't play, but I learned all the way back to the great Drew Pearson, way before your time in Dallas, Texas. But go back and look at his tape. I was very close with Drew, and he fought his ass off because he was undrafted out of the University of Tulsa. And he had to live and die on every throw from Roger Staubach, and he went and got the Hail Mary when it was a little underthrown because he played hard on every snap like his life depended on it.
So we never see Pickens. We never saw Pickens retrace and come get a ball, play a ball in the air, draw a flag.
Yeah, that's what he does.
Yeah. I'm gonna put it to another point. Sometimes when you look up, them lights be bright. You can't track it until it get right there. I done looked up plenty of times and was tracking the ball and it just disappeared. And then you lose those 3 or 4 yards in your tracking of the ball. But to Pickens' point, is like, what receiver don't have those moments, man? You got the greatest receivers in this game, T.O., Randy Moss. And if you label them by some of their antics or some of their complaints, then you would say they wouldn't be worth the money. But these are the greatest receivers to ever play the game that, unfairly sometimes got labeled, divas or not interested in certain games. But you look at them numbers in them TDs, they 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. Okay. So, you guys remember what Chris Collinsworth said the next Sunday night about George Pickens? About how, remember, Chris Collinsworth was a Pro Bowl receiver in the National Football League. And Chris Collinsworth said that you can just see by a receiver's body language whether he's into it or not, whether it's his body language that says, I want the football. And he does not consistently see that from George Pickens. That
Man,
okay.
he
All right.
say a lot of wild shit on them games, Skip. Chris be all over the
Wild
place.
shit. I think
Chris
he's
be
the
all
best.
over the place. I listen to Chris. I'll be like, hey, Chris, all due respect, it may time for you to hang him up because you be saying some wild stuff.
Chris Collinsworth, hang him
Man,
up.
Chris Collinsworth be
He's
saying
at
some
the
wild
top of
stuff
his
during the
game.
game. No, I'm not talking about when he played. I'm talking about
No, as an
analyzing,
announcer,
even during the
as an
game.
analyst.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But,
So he may not be. He may analyzing body language wrong. You know, you could look at body language and misinterpret a lot.
Right.
You know, people look at me all the time.
When you already got a picture of a guy in your head, you can look at his body language and say whatever you want it to be. Skip. Chris Collinsworth has said some bullshit about me before. It's just he's not always right. He's not the 100% right wizard of Sunday night. Like, bro, he don't get everything right.
And to that point, we can talk about body language, but in reality, what you look at is 93 receptions and 1,400 yards and 15 per reception and 9 touchdowns. And when you watch the film, you look at all these too high coverages they're getting because they're worried about CD on one side and now George Pickens on the other side. If you don't have Pickens over there, then you're going to see a lot more cloud coverage just on CD Lamb and they'll match up everywhere else. They can't do that when you have a 1A and a 1B with Pickens and Lamb. His importance to this offense, even if he's running a gump route, Skip, which is Forrest Gump, run, Forrest, run. Just get out of the play, take 2 players with you. That still has an effect and gives them a chance to be successful on offense. So his presence alone, whether he's getting the ball or not, or whether you think he's given 100% max effort, still plays a huge factor when these other defenses are preparing for him.
Yeah, but Cody, how do you explain that CeeDee Lamb in the 2 years before George Pickens came to Dallas, Texas, had the best stats over a 2-year span without George Pickens? How do you explain that? I had him as the best receiver in football. It was working.
Can I explain it for you, Cody?
Go ahead, Keith.
It was 2024 was a lot of garbage time stats. That's what it was, Skip. It was a whole lot of garbage time stats that didn't mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? And
what was last year? 7-9-1. There's some garbage time going on there.
They offense wasn't better. He might have had the stats, but was the offense as a whole better? You look at last year, the offense as a whole was better. You know what I'm saying? It went up in every category, Skip. So I mean, it's
and the difference between stats and watching the game.
Go ahead.
The game, when you watch the game, a lot of them stats, whether it's defensive, offense, you want to go to the paper and look at some numbers, they might tell you something. But when you start getting into the numbers, they're going to tell a different story, especially when you're watching the game. Like Lee said, some garbage stats, I might get 4 more tackles because the team's going to run the ball and not pass. So now I'm tackle for loss. You know, it's effective like that.
And to that point, Skip, when you have CD out there, he's obviously going to get more targets. When you bring in George Pickens, now Shoddy in the offense is going to find ways where we don't just have to force feed CD Lamb the ball. Now we can get Pickens involved. Now we can put him at X, put CD at Z, put them inside, move them around. So that's obviously going to split up some of the targets and take away from his production. But still, CD Lamb is a great player. I think he's great individually. I think he can still do big-time things even if George Pickens wasn't there. I just think it takes some pressure off of them, and it allows their offense as a whole, like Akib was saying, to be better because it's not just one guy on the outside. You have to try to force the football to. You have multiple backs, multiple weapons.
And you go from 27th in rushing to 9th in rushing. Yeah. You go from 21st in scoring to 7th in scoring. You know what I'm saying? That's what he's doing for the team, regardless on what the numbers said last year for CD.
Keith, do you remember the Monday night game against Arizona at Dallas? Do you remember the Sunday night game, Minnesota at Dallas? Do you remember what the offense didn't do in those games?
Yeah, I remember what the defense didn't do as well.
I don't know. The defense against Arizona was actually pretty good in the second half, gave them a chance, and the offense scored 10 points against the Arizona Cardinals. I don't know.
That should have been a loss. That happens sometimes. That should have been a loss. What about they scored 27 points and lose? 27-30.
I understand. Okay. All right. So in the end, I'm back to my very first point. And how do you guys explain that the great Mike Tomlin said more trouble than worth to George Pickens and gave him away, gave him away?
Because he just was traumatized by a guy named Antonio Brown, who did the same thing. He brought antics, he brought problems in the building, but he balled his ass off.
It's like,
Mike T was at the point where he like, shit, I just went through this. I can't go through this again. He can go. I see what DK can do. If I can get a guy like DK for him, I see what that do. So he just was fed up. He was tired of dealing with it.
Well, Skip, the good news for you is we're going to find out all year long how Pickens' character under this tag, and he's going to show who he truly is before he gets his big payday. So it's the perfect situation.
Yeah, Kinsey, he might show who he is before then, like during the OTAs, but go ahead.
True. I mean, but he also could not go to OTAs and ball out all year. I mean, he's a good enough player that could happen. I mean, it depends on the end of the year what his stats are. If he shows up and makes it happen at the end of the year, they're going to pay him. So we're going to find out. Hopefully Pickens is not going to, cry like you think he's going to and make a whole fuss and show up. I think he's going to show up. He's got a better thing going in Dallas. He likes his guys. They're working well together. But let's move on. I think it's a great thing for Dallas. Okay. We got some funny news here because we're in the middle of the combine, right? And the Jets have the number 2 pick in this year's draft. And they've got a lot of good options, I would think. But head coach Aaron Glenn does not seem to be interested. I want to play this on the screen because this is actually hilarious. Here is him falling asleep and realizing that he's on camera and waking up. So I'm thinking, the Jets are coming off a 3-14 season. So I hate to say it, Aaron, but if anybody should be alive and alert during this combine, helping to rebuild the team here, I think it's going to be you. So, Leave, is it a big deal or not that Aaron Glenn fell asleep at the combine?
Man, that shit ain't no big deal, man. It's literally 5 seconds of nodding off, man. The combines I'm telling you, it's a tiring event for the coaches, for the players. You fucking evaluating players you like, you meeting with players all night, you looking over medical situations for players you like. Man, it's a strenuous event, man. So you nod off for 5 seconds, it's not the end of the world. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. What you miss? A D line, you miss one D lineman running the 40. All right, whoop-de-doo. You know what I'm saying? It's just 2026. It's cameras everywhere. Every coach got a camera on him. And as soon as they see he sleep, let's pan to this one. Like, they just going to go to what they want to see. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. I guarantee you he's not the first coach in NFL history who nodded off at the combine for 5 seconds. It's just no big deal, man. It's the media being the media.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal, man. Them coaches been there since Monday. You think that just because the guys got on the field on Wednesday that the coaches just arrived, man. They've been having 16-hour days since Monday, meeting with agents, personal meetings, going to lunch, taking their coaches out, meeting with players, going over film with players, going through medicals like Lee said, man. They've been there for 2-3 days already before these players even hit the field. And, they got late nights, man. They getting back to the room 1, 2, 3 a.m. So, it's big man 40-yard dashes. How much can I miss? Right? We're going to go back and see the times anyway. So, I know some 4.0 students that went in class and nod off for a second, but, it is what it is. You out there giving so much time, so much energy to the process, things happen. But, if he would have stayed asleep, maybe it'd be a little bit different. But, it's a day and age of media trying to find a reason for everybody to click to it and blowing it up. Like people that haven't been to the combine talking about what the coach is going through, which is crazy. Like, you ain't never even been to the combine. What are you talking about?
Yeah, the reality is when it comes to the big picture of the evaluation process leading up to the draft, this is really not that big of a deal. Watching a defensive lineman and linebackers run a 40 isn't that important. Now, those are 2 position groups that the Jets will most likely draft from with the 2nd overall pick. But the private workouts, the meetings at the combine, the pro days, everything in between are a lot more important than watching a guy run a 40-yard dash. And you guys said it too. I mean, as a player at the combine, you get maybe 3 to 4 hours of sleep. I can only imagine what the coaches and the GMs get because of everything that they have to do day in and day out. But with that being said, I still think it might look bad and be perceived the wrong way from everyone that's watching, especially since New York just has struggled for a while now. I mean, the Jets haven't been to the playoffs in 15 seasons, which is the longest active playoff missing streak or drought in the NFL right now. They haven't had a winning record since 2015. Last year, they were 3-14. The defense struggled. Aaron Glenn's a defensive-minded coach, so I understand why it got blown up on Twitter and everyone's making a meme out of it. And Jets fans are desperate for a winner right now, and a lot of them aren't still convinced that Eric Glenn's the guy going forward. So this didn't help him when it comes to people on the outside looking in. But I agree with those guys. At the end of the day, him nodding off for a couple seconds really is not that big of a deal.
Okay. I agree with all three of you. It shouldn't be a big deal. But trust me, if the Jets start off 0-1, 0-2, 0-3, you're going to see it again and again and again because, as Keeb says, it's 2026. That's just how it works. This was, as Cody suggests, an unfortunate bad look, an unfairly bad look for a coach who feels like he's already on some borrowed time. There are already rampant reports at the end of the year that Woody Johnson, the owner, is trying to hire John Gruden to come in to oversee the offense, and reportedly John turned it down. And I don't know what they're going to do at quarterback. Justin Fields is still ranked 1 on their depth chart. I don't know if they'll try for Malik Willis or try to trade for Kyler or hope Kyler gets cut. But in the end, it just feels like this whole season is going to be dedicated to tanking for Arch, for Arch Manning. Like they just want to get through one more year until they can have the first overall pick for Arch Manning. So to me, it wouldn't shock me if Woody Johnson actually got a kick out of this video. Like he chuckled at it and liked it because he wants the whole thing blown up after the next year. So I just don't know where the Jets are going off 3-14. And it's just it's a video, it's a meme that you're just going to see over and over and over again because that's who the Jets are. And that's what people are going to say. This is the Jets in a nutshell.
You're right. You're
Arch
right about
Manning
that.
is good enough to tank for Arch Manning?
Yeah, Keeb thinks he is.
I think he is.
Yeah,
He's about that.
he's got big ability. I know he's got big potential, but he's got the bloodlines and the height and the speed and that his brothers, his uncles didn't have. And yeah, I'm just pretty sure that's what they're going to do. I'm pretty sure he'll be the first pick in a year from now.
Was Eli and Peyton winning national championships and going undefeated in college?
No. Neither. No.
Not at all.
Yeah. No, I agree. But I feel sorry for Aaron Glenn because it just feels like he's stuck in a crossfire that he's just not, and he's at odds with the New York media. He was clashing with them all year. So as you guys know about New York, it's just, you're just on that's the hottest seat in pro football to me. Right. And it's just, it's not going to, it just doesn't look good for him. But everything you guys said is exactly right. It's late nights. It's endless days, 40 times that don't matter. We're just about to talk about that in a second. And yet he got caught, and it's going to be so Jets.
He knew how hot the seat could get when he took the job. You could have stayed in Detroit and had a high-paying defensive coordinator job.
Yeah,
you wanted to take your shot and be a head coach because that's what everybody is in it for, right? You took the hottest seat in the game, so hey, that come with the hottest seat in the game. You got a short leash, and that camera gonna always be on your ass.
But even if the Jets tank, man, the Mannings, they pull a Eli. We're not going to San Diego. We're not going to New York.
They want to go to New York, though.
Yeah, they do. I would think they would want him to go.
With the reputation of what they do, the Jets have done with quarterbacks, man, I think it's risky, man. Every first-round pick that you go through New York, you delay in your career and your progression. It's just it's a dumpster fire over there. Whatever the case, they can't get their quarterbacks together.
Well, they had one before. They can have one again.
Who? You talking about Joe Namath? Or?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Testaverde, who you talking about?
Hey, they had one before, you know what I'm saying? It might take a few decades, but they can have one again.
100 years.
It might take 100 years, but they have one again.
Well, what I'm seeing in the NFL, you can't take a break for 5 seconds. Pickens can't cool it on one route without us talking about it for 2 hours.
No, 3 routes. 3 routes.
Yeah. 3 routes.
Yeah.
And you can't be falling asleep combine for 5 seconds, or we're going to be talking about it on the show. So these guys are under a lot of pressure. But I do want to talk about the combine, okay? Because obviously, all of you guys, you've been through the combine. You know, they're measuring hand size, vertical jump. You know, so the projected first rounder, Ruben Bain, he may have the shortest arm length as a first rounder. Edge rusher since this century, which is crazy. And then you have players like linebacker Sony Styles, who is wowing everybody with his size and his speed. But my question for you guys is, they're doing all of these wild tests. You're getting no sleep. How important really is this? So, Cody, from 0 to 100, how much should we put on combine results?
I say 5%, maybe, maybe 10%, depending on the prospect. I just don't think the on-field workouts and the on-field testing carries that much weight for these teams when they're going through this evaluation process. I mean, some coaches and GMs and decision makers don't even show up to the combine because they don't see a ton of value in it. And I agree. I mean, you're not going to learn a lot about a defensive lineman or an offensive lineman in a T-shirt and shorts doing non-contact bag drills and then running a 40-yard dash. You're not going to learn a lot about a quarterback or a wide receiver running routes on air against no defense and working together for the first time ever and maybe getting, 10 to 15 reps during that process. You're not going to learn a lot about a DB backpedaling against no receiver and then running a gauntlet drill right after that. Where you are going to learn a lot, and what carries a lot more weight is the game film. When they go on and put the tape on, that's the best evaluation tool that they have. That's where all of that, what you want to learn about a guy, everything you need to know about who they are as a player, that's going to tell you everything you need to know. The eye in the sky does not lie. The other thing that I think is more important as well than the combine drills is those individual workouts. Those teams get an opportunity to bring some of these guys in or work with some of these players one-on-one and do individual workouts instead of being in a group setting so they can work on things that they do specifically within their organization. Bo Nix might not even be a Bronco right now if it wasn't for the individual workout that he had with Sean Payton. If you remember last year, Sean Payton was interviewed at the combine, and he said, I was sold and knew that Bo Nix was our guy after we had an individual workout with him following his pro day. He even went on to say that, I don't think Bo threw very well at the combine, but I understand the circumstances for a quarterback and not getting timing down with receivers and the fresh footballs and everything that goes along with that. So it doesn't carry too much weight for me. That individual workout and the film was a lot more important. And honestly, in my opinion, I think the off-field things like Kinsey kind of mentioned, that the interviews, the meetings, the medical testing, all of those things carry a lot more weight than the on-field testing. Yeah, it's an entertainment purpose. And
that's part of the combine, though.
Huh?
Yeah,
that's still part of the combine.
Yeah, but it is. But I'm talking more so about on the field aspect. So if we're talking about off the field things, yeah, it carries a little more weight with the interviews and individual things like that you get face-to-face time with the football team. But I still think, again, your game film carries a lot more weight than all of that. The combine's a couple days. You're sleep deprived. You're doing things in and out, doing these meetings. It can be tough. And then you got to go out there and run a 40 and do these different drills that you're probably never going to do again in your football career. So I just don't think it carries a ton of weight. I'll say 10%. The reason I don't say 0, though, and the reason I think it does have a little bit of value is for some of these guys that are projected, mid to late to maybe undrafted when it comes to the draft, because they can go out and if they perform well on the field or they test well or they interview well, they're not going to skyrocket up the draft boards because of what they did at the combine, but it might provoke some of these coaches and general managers to go back and say, you know what, let's check this guys out. Let's check this film out a little bit more. Let's go back and take a second look at some of these games. Maybe we didn't see everything that we needed to see, or maybe we need to become more familiar with this prospect. So it can help some of those guys. So again, it's not 0%. It's not pointless. There is some value to it, but I think there's other things throughout this draft process that are a lot more important than what you do at the combine.
I gotta disagree with my dog Cody, man. I would put 30 to 35%. You know what I'm saying? Just because you do gotta watch the game film first, right? You watch the game film first. You see if you like a guy. You see what type of player he is. Is he making plays? Is he not? What kind of game speed he has? Boom, that's 65, 70% of it. When you get to that combine, first thing you do, you get a true size on the guy. Like I could watch you on this little bitty screen I'm looking at, and you look one way. Then I can get in person. I can't tell you how many coaches said, damn, Lee, you're bigger than I thought you was. You wouldn't know that unless I came to the combine. You got a true size on me, first of all. Then you see who's been working. Who are the guys who really took this shit serious? You should look like you're in the best shape of your life. You should do these drills and be gassed, but not gassed because you're in the best shape of your life. And you should know the drills. You should dominate the drills because we know what drills we're doing. We know what drills we're going to do. Who's been every day, 3-4 days a week, working on these drills so they can come put it on tape like this? Who's going to work their craft as a pro? And who's going to be out here tripping over their own feet and looking like this their third, fourth time going over these drills? I'm going to learn that from you. And then I'm going to see your real personality. I'm going to get a 20-minute meeting with you. I'm going to ask you all kind of questions. It's going to be you versus 20 people in the room. And we're going to get a real good idea of what kind of person you are. Is you standoffish? Is you funny? Is you social? Is you nervous? Is you sweating? Is you lying? Is you stuttering? Like, I'm going to get a good idea on what kind of person you are with the team. And then I'm going to get a good idea what kind of person you are with your peers, because you're going to run around and train, and I'm going to just see how guys act with the guys, who's the leaders, who's the guys who lag behind, who's late, who's the last one on the field, who's the first one on the field. I'm looking at all kind of stuff about this combine when all these guys come together. And then I'm going to see your competitive edge. I can't see a competitive edge on tape. You know what I'm saying? But when you put the best of the best in one room and we got to bench press versus each other, then we got to see who jumped the highest. Then we got to see who do the drills the best. And we see who the fastest. That's when the cream of the crop rise to the top, baby. I'm telling you, I put on some white Jordan shorts, Kenzie. I'm going to make sure they see me. Everybody, y'all wearing that? I'm wearing white Jordan shorts. Let me rise to the top. And I went crazy in them drills. And I guarantee you I rose my draft stock from the combine, because that's what it's all about. So I feel like, man, all those things are important, bro. You about to hire a guy, pay him millions of dollars. I want to learn the little stuff about him. You know what I'm saying? I could turn on the tape. You're right. He can play, but everybody at this combine can play. Let me see who's the cream of the crop out of these guys. Let me see who got these little nagging ass injuries that, damn, I ain't even really know about. You know what I'm saying? I'm learning that kind of stuff about guys at the combine. So it's an important process to me. And I've seen guys like Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie barely be on the board, top 5, go to the combine and get drafted before league. I'm like, where the fuck did this dude come from? Because they looked at him, they said, God damn, he's 6'1.5", 6'2". Then he run a damn 4.32, and then his drills look crazy. They're like, bro, look at this. Oh man, he jumped everybody. So hey, it can propel a guy to the top of the list who is kind of middle of the pack. So I love it, man. It's
like the arm length right now on Ruben Bain being a conversation. Like, how important is that?
I mean, it's important. If it wasn't important, they wouldn't be talking about it. You can see times on Ruben Bain when he rushed around the edge and guys lock him up and he just kind of just stuck. He can't go nowhere. You could find a lot of tape on him getting caught like that, and that's because he can't lock his arms out. His arms are not. When he lock his arms out, somebody can still grab his shoulders. So if it wasn't important, it wouldn't mean nothing. Your arm lift do mean something. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I'm right in between my guys, man. I don't think it's as low as Cody, but I don't think it's as high as Lieb. I got it at 20%, just because your films is going to do, all the telling from a football aspect, from a personality aspect, from a preparation aspect. The lights are on. Everyone knows that the lights are on. You've been preparing for this from the end of the season. If you come in ill-prepared, if you come in looking chubby, if you don't come in at the top of your life, that just tells me something about your character. Like, this is the biggest moment of your life, and you are not completely compared. And if you show that I'm a faster player in this 40 than I am on tape, or a slower player than I am on tape, I don't think it hinders you or benefits you too much more than what the tape shows. But there are other aspects of your character that's going to come out. Are you coming to the drills tired? Did you get rest last night? Do you know the drills? When I'm explaining the drills, are you paying attention? Do I got to say, hey, are you messing up the first time you go out there after 3 guys already went before you? That matters. You're not paying attention to details. You're not coachable. If I coach you one time and you get it right the second time, you're coachable. For me, they wanted to see my health, right? I had 3 knee surgeries. When I got in there with the doctors, they said, oh, you had 3 knee surgeries, but your knee is still sturdy. You good, right? I was a little bit bigger than I played during my senior year, right? I played at 205 to 207. I came in the combine 212, but I was able to hold my speed. That matters. I gained weight, but I still ran a 4.5, ran a 4.4 at my pro day. So those little discrepancies, like Lee said, that they want to see. They want to see, are you prepared? Can you perform while everyone's watching when the moment is its biggest? that matters. Now, some of these drills that they do now had the dude feet over his head. I don't know what that is. They had his feet peeled back. You know, that's a new drill. We didn't have to do that. But the broad jump, the vertical, the 40, the L drill, and mainly the position drills. Now, quarterbacks may be a little different with throwing the time into receivers. You know, why quarterbacks don't want to throw, I understand that. But for the normal position guys, running backs, linebackers, O-line, tight ends, you better come in there and you better work out and be at your best. So I got it at 20% because if the tape says one thing and you go out there and don't destruct, you'll likely hold that position that team's got you on. But if you come in and you do something that, you know, is against what they see on film, I don't care what that film say. If they see it in person, you're going to get knocked down. And that happens all the time.
So you think if they're football fast on tape and pads and a helmet and all of that, and they have great football speed, but they go to the combine and the 40 is not as impressive, you think that's going to hurt them instead of coaches going, he looks fast on film. Maybe he didn't test well at the combine with his result at the 40, but on film, he looks fast, and we can work with that. And he runs away from people, and he has great recovery speed. I just think that carries so much.
I've seen guys they thought was faster and go down 2 rounds because they ran a 4.6 and they thought they was a 4.4.
And then they pull up the camp, and that 40 time was right. They ass can't run, and they be out the league in a few years.
But help vice versa. If you come in and you run a 4.2, 4.3, you know, that's a little different. Now we talking about like Rodgers, Cromartie, and we talking about some of these other guys that run in rare times. Now, if it's a rare time for a position or your size, then yeah, that'll shoot you up for sure. But if it's like a 10th or something like that,
and then it could go just the other way, bub. Like they think you can't run. All right, this guy can't run that good, and you get out there and run a super fast time and look nice and crispy and track the ball well in your drills. And then they're like, oh, well, shit, maybe he was hurt. What if I'm hurt 2-3 games and the guy running by me like I was with Jordy Nelson and I get the tag that he can't run? I'm like, bro, I was fucking hurt. You feel me? Like,
this sounds a little personal.
I was hurt. You know what I'm saying? So I went to the club and he did run a great time. And they're like, oh, yeah, bro can run. He can move very fluently. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
It did. I would say I benefited from the combine because they thought I was stiffer than I was, and I got out there and I was real fluid in my drill. So I definitely think I came up. You know, I missed half my senior year. I went 38. Like they thought I was injury prone and I was stiff, but I proved them wrong because I was prepared. If you come in prepared, ready to go, you gonna improve your stock. If you don't, you gonna drop.
So obviously, as Akeem points out, I did not play football. I did not participate at a combine. I've just covered combines. And I started covering pro football before there was a combine with Don Shula's Dolphins back in the late 70s. I knew the ultimate draft master, Gil Brandt of the Dallas Cowboys, all the way through the late 70s and 80s. I was very close with him. And what I learned was that Cody is exactly right about this, except I'm going to the low end of what Cody started this conversation with, because the combine should matter 5%, period, end of story, 5%. All I know is that I watched Aqib Talib play on television at Kansas. I watched a bunch of games. The whole Orange Bowl that Aqib Talib played at Kansas against, was it Virginia Tech, Aqib? Right? Yep. Virginia Tech. He was the MVP of that game. And I immediately said after the game, I want him in the first round because all he does is play make. Wherever the ball is, he's getting his hands on balls. He's intercepting balls. He's pick-sixing balls. It's hard for a corner to be the MVP of the Orange Bowl. That's all I needed to know. So what did I learn before there even was a combine? That the tape never lies, and it does not lie. And where I disagree with the key, he says, well, maybe your competitive edge doesn't show on tape. Well, if it doesn't, then I don't want you. If I watch your whole tape of your whole final year in college football and you don't show me competitive edge, then I'm not going to waste a high pick on you. And when we get to the combine, it's just become a glorified track meet. And I'm fine with that because it gives fans a fresh start, hope anew. It's like the kickoff for a new football season where you have hope because maybe we can get this guy or that guy, this workout warrior or that workout warrior. And I just remind everybody, Emmitt Smith ran 4.6, greatest running back ever. Jerry Rice ran 4.6, greatest receiver ever. They had football speed with a football under their arm that you couldn't time. They didn't time. It's like kids who don't test well in school. Maybe you just don't time well. Just watch the tape. How do they look on tape? Are they fast on tape?
And I bet you they would have killed them drills though. I bet you they would have killed them drills because they work hard.
But you practice those drills and you know you
now you do
as a receiver and a DB for the entire lead up to the combine. We're running the gauntlet drill over and over and over and over. You may not have great ball skills as a DB, but you might crush the gauntlet drill because I've practiced it 1,000 times before.
All right. Okay. All right. So who won the combine yesterday? Sonny Styles won the combine, and it killed me because I was hoping a week ago that Sonny Styles would fall to Dallas at 12. And now there's no way because he just won the combine on opening day. What do we know about Sonny Styles? Well, I already knew he was a 5-star recruit out of high school who went to Ohio State as a safety. Well, what do you think is going to happen as he transitions, as he gets his man body and goes, what is he, 6'5", 245, and transitions to off-ball linebacker? Well, what do you think is going to happen? He's going to be a stud, man. He can do it all. And all I know is that I watched the entire Big Ten championship game, Ohio State and Indiana. And when I turned it off, I said the best player on the field today, even though his team lost, was Sonny Styles. Go look it up. He had 12 tackles, career high. He was all over the football field because he is a flat-out stud, man. He's got all those things. Run, jump. From what I gathered, and I didn't break down all his tape, but they say he didn't miss a single tackle last year. Well, okay. I can just see it. You know, I didn't need the combine to tell me that.
Arvell Reese is the best linebacker on that team.
Yeah, I thought Sonny Styles was a little more productive, actually, just as a tackler, that he made more things happen. But again, you know, we get Reuben Bain. His arms are 2 inches shorter than Sonny Styles, a linebacker. Well, go. I watched Reuben Bain tore people up, and he tore up Indiana in the championship game. You know, like what do I need? I don't need him to measure. It's like in the end, to Akib's points, I need the medicals. I need the height and weight. I can get those anywhere, but if you want to gather everybody up in one place in Indianapolis to do that, that's fine. The interviews give me a little indication of how he's going to be, but we can fly our whole group to Ohio State and take Sonny Styles out to dinner for multiple nights. We can take him out 2 or 3 nights and get to know him. If we really
one guy, Skip, what if you got a board of 50 guys? Y'all gonna go to all 50 of these guys?
Yeah, no, it helps a little bit.
You get visits where you can pick guys to come to your facility and get a couple days.
You can do that.
And that ain't about getting guys out their comfort zone.
Right.
You gotta get them out their comfort zone. If you come to them, they sitting there, they prepared, they at home, they've been reciting whatever, they gonna be somebody different. You want them to be in the natural setting in the jungle amongst the rest of the dogs.
Exactly.
Like Arvell, like, and to your point, Skip, you said Sonny Styles. A lot of people have Arvell Reese above Sonny Styles.
Yeah,
point blank. But now he had the opportunity to go out and say, hey, look at this. I can be the number 1 linebacker in this draft.
I'm the freak of nature. You know what I'm saying? He's probably going to go before Arvell Reese because his combine. So, and then who's better at the end of the day, we'll see. But I mean, I gotta put guys. I gotta put all the dogs in one pit. You know what I'm saying? And then let me see who's the best.
Okay. All right, I got you, and I agree with your premise on that because it's important. You can't see this on TV, but if you're there, you can observe them in the group and see who the alpha is, see who takes over. Yeah, right.
And that happens a lot. The coaches will be like, "Hey, what's such and such? Break us down." They know who the leaders are in the group. They had, like, every individual period. They'll call you nicknames. You get a nickname from a coach, they messing with you. So
no, I got it.
Things like that.
All right, but when we get to, I'm sorry, Cody. Go ahead, Cody.
No, I was just going to say, and that was my point, because the question
Yeah.
was, how much weight does combine results carry throughout this process? I think the on-field testing, the on-field workouts don't carry a lot of weight. I do agree, and I mentioned that. I do think the interviews and the off-field things do carry a lot of weight, because it is important to get face-to-face with these coaches and with these organizations. And it may be your 10th interview of the day, but it's your first impression with that coach. So you've got to be on during that entire process. They want to know, are you authentic? Everything, because they've already done their due diligence, right? They're asking you questions that they most likely know the answer to. They just want to know if you're going to be honest and if you're going to back up these guys. These coaches say, hey, he's a great character guy, he's a leader. Is he going to be the same in these interviews or these one-on-ones? But at the end of the day, looking at it as a quarterback, I could go out there and crush it. And I had a really good combine. I could throw some great slants, some great outs, some great in cuts, but then you throw the tape on it. The same guy struggles when you get a pass rush and reading the defense and their footwork gets off. It's not going to translate. That's why, to me, the tape is so much more important. These individual workouts where they can put you through these pressure drills is a lot more important than what you do at a combine, regardless of the competitive nature.
Okay, I got it.
I'm not saying what's more important.
What if he had a bad coach, a bad system, and you could see him at the combine like, no, he really could spin. He really smart. He really this. And then he get with you, and he's a totally different player on that team than he was on this team, like a Sam Darnold.
But that's what I was saying. Well, Sam Darnold was a top 5 pick regardless, no matter what he did. But when you see a guy like that, if you're a high-end pick, I don't think you're going to really jump too much, especially as a quarterback. But if you see a guy spin it, that was kind of my last point of why I think it's maybe 5 to 10%, is if you see a guy and say, hey, the ball's jumping off his hand well, he looks a little bit better, let's go back and watch some more tape. Maybe we call him and say, hey, why don't you come in for a workout? We want to get a one-on-one. Or maybe we send some guys to your pro day, these other things, instead of just going off the combine when you're throwing with one guy that runs a 4.3, and then the next route he runs a 4.8 with another guy who cuts it short and runs different depths. So I think there's a lot more variables to it. And that's why Sean Payton was saying when they were evaluating Bo Nix was that, there's other circumstances around the combine instead of getting these individual workouts and watching his tape.
Yeah.
Well, you also got to use smaller school guys. The competition may not be. You got the Joe Flacco's, the Khalil Macks, where the tape is going to look outstanding, but it's not, D1. So you need to get to the combine so we can see you around the rest of these guys.
Yeah, TJ, I agree with you. Like that Emmanuel McNeil Warren's out of Toledo, where Quinyon Mitchell came from, and
Quinyon Mitchell for sure.
Yeah, and they say his tape is right there with Caleb Downs' safety tape, and so that would be a player I would want to see among his peers in his position group, and just see how he reacts. And I would want to see how he ran and just how he looked as an athlete, just how he came across, what's his body language. But when we get to the receivers and we do the track meet times and we do the Ross or the Ruggs times or Paris Campbell or Tyquan Thornton or Xavier Worthy or Matthew Golden, I don't care how fast they run, because it doesn't equate to success on the football field. It just doesn't. At receiver, if you can run 4.2, it doesn't mean you're going to be a perennial Pro Bowl receiver. In fact, it often means you're not going to be a Pro Bowl receiver.
Like Tyreek Hill?
Yeah. Well, there's one who did.
Tyreek Hill didn't get invited to the combine.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill, Julian Edelman, Wes Welker, Malcolm Butler, Chris Harris, Doug Baldwin, James Harrison, guys like that didn't get invited to the combine, but crushed the other aspects of. All
right, so give me a list who guys of another handful of all pros who did get invited to the combine, crushed it. You could do the same thing.
Some guys are all pros that go to like Fernando Mendoza is supposed to be the number 1 overall pick. He's not even going to participate in the combine. He's not going to throw. He's not going to. He's going to do the interviews and some of those things, but he's not even going to throw because there's not a lot of value to it in that situation. It might be different. Maybe I'm looking at it through a quarterback lens and how difficult that was going and throwing with guys that you're not used to throwing with, and it's just a different situation. But yeah, I don't see a ton of value in the on-field.
Mendoza, it's not a lot of value for Mendoza because you're the projected number 1 overall pick. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's not the projected number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
I think what we're hearing from the conversation, from everybody's opinion right now, is that there is value, whether it's just seeing the guys in person, seeing them with their peers, seeing them in their position with their peers, seeing them like get along with the guys, having the meetings. There's value in one part of the step of the combine. There's a million steps of it, and they're going to find value in one of them. And I think it's still worth it for the guys to be out there. They're going to get something from it, right? But whether you guys put it on a 1 to scale, we got difference of opinions here. I'm leaning with Lieb on this one. I think it's important. I want to see the guy out there on the field with the guys, how they interact in those drills with their peers of the best in that moment. So that's how I feel. I do want to move on.
Kinsey, wait a second. You agree with the Keeb on every question, right?
Right.
What is this?
I'm right a lot.
Yeah.
It's because I'm right a lot, Skip. That's just simple as that.
Yeah.
I'm sick of it.
The second that Keeb started making me money with his underdog picks,
that must be it. That explains it.
You should follow in their footsteps, Skip, and trust me sometimes.
He made me some money. I got to ride with my guy.
All right.
The Cowboys was going to win 7 games.
Yeah, exactly.
You did say that. You got a lot of right picks, and maybe you're just a really convincing guy. I listened to all your points. I'm like, you know what? That sounded nice.
Yeah, he picked your Bengals to win the championship this year, Kinsey. Maybe that's why.
They had an injury, Skip. They quarterback missed 11 games.
I did too. Yeah.
Hey, hey, speaking of,
you did too, Skip.
Remember, speaking of Bengals quarterback, remember Joe Burrow's hand size dilemma at the combine? He tweeted he's never going to be able to play in the NFL. Look at him now. He's
look at him now.
Good football. He's already
I'm just saying there's some value in every single piece.
You're right.
You can
There is.
out of each player, and that's enough to make it worth it to bring these guys out and get them all together and make it happen. There is value. Okay, let's move on. We're going to talk about something funny here because we got the NFLPA. They do a player survey, right? So this is actually a survey that grades the team from their treatment of the families, the locker room facilities, everything. So ESPN got a hold of the results and released them, and the grades are pretty interesting. So surprisingly, the highest ranked team was the Dolphins, scoring high grades in weight room, coaches, team travel. They ranked number 1. Then the worst grades was the Steelers. They got an F- in both locker room, home field, and treatment of the families and team travel. I mean, that's terrible. So, TJ, what does it say to you that the Dolphins are ranked first and the Steelers last?
I'm just trying to figure out how these grades were getting handed out because I'm looking through the whole list, the entirety, and a bunch of other teams, and it just doesn't correlate to wins. Like when you see the Dolphins and they're A across the board, you say, hey, it must be a great workplace. Everybody's winning. Everything's good. And it's not because you guys were 7-10. Like it doesn't. I'm just trying to figure out. And the only thing that came to my mind was one of those parents that just let you do anything you want to do, but you're not really becoming a good child. You're not disciplined. You're not doing things the right way. You're not getting prepared for life. And that's what the Dolphins A's across the board looks to me. It looks like everybody's on vacation. We out in Miami, South Beach. We on the private jet. We on yachts, and there's no work being done. Hey, I'll work here every day. Look, best work environment I've ever been in, but we don't win. And then you look at some of the teams like the Raiders and the Falcons, and I'm looking at key parts of this list, like head coach, right? Head coach, training, some of the things that correlate, I would think, to winning. The ownership overall. Raiders A, Falcons A, Dolphins A, Cardinals A. None of those coaches are coming back. So how are those all A's and none of those guys are coming back, right? Then you got the Bears and the Jags, 2 playoff teams. They're rated a C. But so it's just the correlation. I'm missing the correlation in how these players voted on this. And the biggest thing that, like I said, is coming to me is a child that doesn't know what it needs to be successful. And I'm judging based on what I'm allowed to do instead of what I should be doing and what we need to do to win. So you could throw this whole list out the window because it doesn't make no sense. Like the Steelers, them being the bottom of the list in ownership, C-. You got the New England Patriots and the Kansas City Chiefs, C- and D in ownership. Championship program, championship organizations, top of the league, the Eagles as well, top of the league. And when you look at the ownership, they got bad ratings for whatever reason. So, I mean, if I'm looking at the list, I'm looking at the middle of the pack as far as grades if I want to win a championship because there's a little good in it and there's a little bad in it. But if it's all good, then it ain't all good. It's red flags if it's all good. It's too comfortable. I don't want to be there if I'm trying to win chips. Now, if I just want to be, you know, in the sunshine and do it like that, then I'm going to go to the Dolphins. But if I want to win, I'm going to go to some of these teams that were graded in the middle of the pack because, you know, but one thing is unacceptable is F- with the families, man. You can't mess with the man's family. You got to treat the families right. And I know sometimes the families are a little overbearing and can be entitled as far as like post-game passes and getting field access pregame and all that type of stuff. But an F-, that's kind of unacceptable. But
man, I'm with Bub. I'm with Bub because this list means absolutely nothing to me. Like it's the National Football League. It's like everything is first class in the National Football League. So when you say Pittsburgh, they get an F for how they treat the families. Okay, the families don't get steak and sushi after the game. They give them a to-go thing of pasta. You know what I'm saying? They can't go on the field after the game. They gotta wait in the tunnel. Like that's the stuff we're talking about. You say Pittsburgh got an F for travel. Okay. The players got to sit in the back and the coaches get to sit first class. That's what we're talking about. Like, you know what I'm saying? We still charter planes. Everybody in the National Football League going to be on their own fucking plane. It's going to be a charter plane for just you and the team. Like, what's so bad about that? It can't be that bad. So Pittsburgh get an F for the field. They get an F for their home field, right? Okay, so the surface is a little bit harder in the cold. Like, they get an F-.
The locker room, leave. You see some of these locker rooms, it's like the Jets.
They got grass, so they should be rated above everybody who got turf. Because I don't give a damn. I'd rather play on grass than play on turf in the cold and the hot anytime. You know what I'm saying? It's people gonna find a way to complain, man. It's somebody got to be 32 and somebody got to be 1. But at the end of the day, we are all spoiled ass brats in the league because everything is first class. I'm talking about every single thing is first class. So what are we talking about here?
Yeah, I hear you guys. I agree to an extent. I love that they started doing these. They started these back in 2023. It gives a voice to some of the players and they can, talk about what they want to talk about anonymously without, worried about getting cut or having, disciplinary issues from the team or having the organization think a certain way about you. But I do think they carry a little bit more weight because these are from the players directly. These are from guys that are on the roster from November to December, guys that have been within the organization. And I think it does speak a little bit of, how well Stephen Ross and the Dolphins has been doing from an ownership standpoint, maybe not on the field and the coaches and hiring the right people, but with the facilities and the treatment of families and all the things that they've done in that aspect and the training and all of that. They've done a good job, and they've been first 3 years in a row. So I think that does carry a little bit of weight. But the other aspect of this, or the objective of this, is to hold some of these other owners and organizations accountable who might be below average, who might be struggling in some areas. And you talk about the Steelers. I agree with the field being F-, Akeem, because that should tell you more right there. A lot of the grades when it came to the fields were Fs and Ds when they had turf. When they had grass, they were Bs and As. But the Steelers have an F-. Why is that? It's because multiple teams share that field. And we saw it throughout the year. We saw Chris Boswell try to kick a field goal and his foot went 3 inches into the dirt and he couldn't even use his plant leg. Like he struggled because of the maintenance of that grass. They have the college team there. They have some of the high schools that play there. That field took a beating and it's a safety issue for some of these players. I know turf, you can argue with the knees and the ankles and all of that, but
that's a safety issue.
It is for the Steelers. I do think that grass was a safety issue. And I think that's why the players were voicing their concern of look what it did to our kicker. Look what it did to some of our guys trying to get in and out of
kicker, hey, man.
It might be saving guys. The grass is even like that. You might be saving guys' careers. Honestly.
I just don't think it gives anybody a competitive advantage either, though. If you want, there's multiple videos, multiple clips. It's been a while now to where that grass has been an issue, but also they got F in multiple other areas. You got a D- in ownership. And the issue I have right now with Pittsburgh, and I agree, it doesn't correlate to wins, right? That they still went to the playoffs last year. They're not having any issues bringing in top name guys that want to sign with the Steelers, regardless of these report cards. And, they haven't had a losing season since 2003. But I do think the Rooney family should take into account the fact that in 2023, they were 28. In 2024, they were 28th. And now this year, they dropped to dead last. So I think when it comes from their players who are their employees or the guys that they work with who really are the backbone of these organizations. They got to take into account that there's issues with some of these things, and you would hope that they would address them going forward.
Well, maybe it's the players, because the old Pittsburgh Steelers, I never hear none of them guys complain. They talk about it's the best organization they've played for, and that's just genuinely. But now since they losing, I mean, maybe it's just a different breed of player these days.
I mean, they're
Dolphins are losing too, but they're happy.
They should get the family's steak and sushi.
No, I think when they talk about treatment of families and all of that, I think they're talking about maybe on game day, how the process is getting them tickets, where they're seated at the home games, how they handle or accommodate them that travel. I think there's more than just steak and sushi, Akeem. I mean, you had your family travel. I've had my family go to home games. They have family areas, the access to the players, the ability to sit where they want to sit, and the game's away from the rowdy fans. There's a lot more in it than just steak and sushi.
Everybody sit the same place though, Cody. Everybody gonna sit right in that chair, mid-level for the family section. Everybody's the same. I played on 4 different teams. They are the same.
And that's another thing. How many of these players have played with multiple teams?
Okay, so here's what's happening. We look at the Miami Dolphins, and as TJ pointed out, and I will drive home, they haven't won a Super Bowl for 53 years, and they're ranked number 1 on this list. The Steelers continue to be at or near the bottom because the Rooney family has always believed what the old Tom Landry Dallas Cowboys believed in, that pro football players should not be pampered, should not be coddled, or as Keith just said, they shouldn't be spoiled ass brats. That's what that family, the Rooneys, have always insisted upon, that the facilities, relatively speaking, should be Spartan and minimal and no frills. And I'll go back to the first time I ever went to the old Cowboys practice field, which was about a mile from where Akeem grew up in Dallas, Texas, in his high school days. When I first went there, the Tom Landry Cowboys were housed in this aluminum sided little sort of trailer. It was like a trailer, like a mobile trailer. And that's where they dressed and that's where they met before they practiced. And it was because Tom Landry believed that football players shouldn't be spoiled. So again, the Steelers are still living in the past because, remember, they won their first 4 Super Bowls in 6 years, and then they won 6 of their first 7, and now they've won 6 of 8, but the last one came in 2009, which was 18 years ago. So the problem with finishing last is it doesn't help them if it's push come to shove with a potential free agent signing. You know, he might say, gee, I don't know. I don't love the facilities here. Maybe he'd sign with the Dolphins because it is South Beach and it is number 1 on the list. So to me, the Rooneys are still living in the past, and Miami's really living in the past because they're number 1. They're spoiling their players rotten year after year after year and getting nowhere with it.
That's because they ain't built no scabs, man. They soft.
Well,
they soft
yeah.
over there. You gotta
Soft.
build some scabs, man.
Agreed.
You can't be over there carte blanche to everything you want, man, in South
Yeah.
Beach. And, man, you're gonna take a bunch of L's like that.
But
Agreed.
also the opposite side of the spectrum, like the Seahawks, who are 4th on the list. Right? There's good teams that are also at the top of the list. I'm not saying it correlates exactly to wins and losses, but you would think as an owner and as an organization, you would look at these grades from your players who are the people that work for you, the people that you know it as players, they run the industry. It's not the owners that fans come to watch. It's not the coaches that fans come to watch. They come to watch the guys on the field. And if they're voicing their opinions within the locker room, within the organization, saying these are issues that we have that maybe could make this place better, then I would think as an owner, especially if you're consistently at the bottom, you'd want to listen to them and try to improve in some areas.
But the point is, Cody, that we got a class of, this is like ranking, you go Louis, Prada, Fendi, Gucci. Somebody got to be 4th on the list. They are great brands. I could swag the fuck out of all of them, but that got to be 4th on the list. Like, what are we talking about? This is a billion. Everybody's billionaires.
How big?
Everybody's first class. So
but when they get the list to keep, they're not ranking 1 to 32. They're ranking A, B, C, D, or F. They're ranking it by a grading scale. They're not saying hey, let's all rank the teams because not everybody's been in every individual locker room. They can only talk about the team.
We talked about Pittsburgh being 32nd and the Dolphins being first. They out of all the rankings, you still get ranked. Out of the A's, B's, C's, you still get ranked. You know what I'm saying?
I'm saying more so looking individually at why they got an F- here, why they got a D- with ownership, why some of these things were issues.
But that's not great though. Like we could do the same thing. We could rank Gucci, Fendi, Louis, and Prada, and we could rank those and give them an A, a B for this, and C, and like, bro. At the end of the day, they are the first class of the brands.
Who do you rank number one, Akeem? Who's number one?
Number one is Louis. I gotta go Louis right now.
Really? I thought you go Gucci.
They're running away with it. They're running away with it right now, Skip.
Okay.
I give Gucci a F for their store, for they workers.
You do?
They were I'm just
oh, you're kidding. Okay. Like I thought maybe they had insulted you. Yeah.
Like, man, it's man, if we saying how they treat the families is an F. All right, so are they not letting the families see the people after the game? Or like, are they not letting the families get tickets at all? That's an F. If y'all sit in the same section as the Dolphins, the Cowboys, if everybody else, the Bucks, everybody sit in that same section. Now the Patriots might let you come in the cafeteria and have food for the people. The Broncos don't do that. You come in the waiting tunnel and you right there in the waiting tunnel. Now they let you go on the field if you with the family. Like everybody just do stuff different, but at the same time, the regular fans can't come down in the tunnel. They can't do nothing. The family can for every team in the league. You know what I'm saying? So
got it.
It's we talking about nothing for real.
All right. But let's talk about something else.
You can't rank an F in on the field. I don't know. I feel like you guys play on every single field. If you're constantly ranking F on your field quality, I feel like that is important.
That's probably what's most important. Definitely the field. Like, but if you got grass, you can't be an F to me. I don't care. I mean,
exactly.
You grew up playing on grass. Like, if you got grass, we talking about the kicker, talking about what the grass. Like, you ain't even out there playing for real. You missed the kick.
There's been plenty of clips this season from Pittsburgh and the issues they've had with their field turf.
There are a lot.
Wear and tear on it. This isn't some new fact.
So who get it?
Potholes.
Like potholes? Grass field. Like it's some turfs on there that got bees and shit. Like
you got grass and you still got an F-. That's an issue.
Man,
Cody wants to be spoiled. He cares about how they treat him and his family, but the other guys don't care. But let's move on. Let's talk about your Broncos lead because we got some surprising news. Sean Payton is giving up play calling. And it'll be the first year that the offensive coordinator, Davis Webb, is his first year's offensive coordinator, will be taking the reins. So I'm going to play a clip of what Sean Payton had to say about this because I was pretty shocked.
I think there was something that I kind of knew, during the year. And I visited on a handful of occasions talking about Davis Webb. He's extremely talented. With regards to play calling, it's something that I think he'll be really good at it. And I know that's like, man, are you going to give up play calling? I would only do that if I felt like it would help our team. I'll still be involved with what we do offensively, just like what we do defensively. But I do think he has a gift. I think he's real sharp. I'm glad he's on our staff.
So, Lee, how surprised are you that Payton gave up play calling to Davis Webb?
I ain't gonna lie. I was very surprised, man. I was very, very surprised just because the type of guy Sean is. He a real hands-on type of guy. You know what I'm saying? And then we just got an organization going back in the right direction with Sean calling the plays. We just went to the AFC Championship with Sean calling the plays. So I was very surprised, man. But with that being said, though, Sean is not giving up the offense. He's still going to be heavily involved, just like he just said, man. And I'm sure his new role is going to be to make sure Davis Webb succeeds in his new role. You know what I'm saying? He's going to make sure that he's successful in doing what he want to do, man. So this just says a lot about Davis Webb, man. You promote him to OC. You let him call the plays. Sean told you right there, man, he is very, very high on him, man. He trusts this dude, man. This dude brings great ideas. He got great knowledge of the game. And most importantly, they did it to keep Davis Webb in the building. That's how much they want him in the building. He could have went to another team and got the OC and call plays, but he wanted to stay in Denver if he had the same opportunity because he wants Sean to help him develop as a play caller. And because of his relationship with Bo, man, they got a great relationship, man. He's the guy who pushed Bo. He's the guy who, do a lot of the communicating with Bo in his last role. But I mean, that relationship is like this. So they wanted to keep him in the building. How can we keep him in the building, keep him linked with Bo, man? We feel like that's a great relationship, and we want it to keep growing. Hey, man, you let him do his thing and call plays. Sean trusts him. He trusts Sean. And I'm just excited to see the new wave of thinking, a younger guy run the Sean Payton offense, man. I'm excited to see it. I think it's going to turn up. I think, like Sean said, it's going to make our offense better, and I think it will.
Go ahead, TJ.
What do you want?
Yeah.
You Broncos guys.
I'm surprised. I'm not completely shocked though. I'm a little surprised. All that Sean Payton has done for the offense and Bo. That being said, putting Davis Webb in the position he is now, how close him and Bo have been. What happened with the field goal situation in the AFC Championship game? It was been a lot of silent noise about Sean continuing to play call, whether it was warranted or not. But there has been, I feel, small objections to him continuing to play call. So do I think it was all on Sean to relinquish that responsibility? Honestly, I can't say that it was all on him. I think he may have, had somebody tell him or suggest that Davis goes ahead and takes the play calling duties from here on out. And that may come from his relationship with Bo. That may come from the little spurt of Sean and Bo had about the injury towards the end of the season. It may be a couple of factors that we don't know about, but to say that I'm completely shocked by it, no. I am surprised that, Sean saying that, it was all on him to let go of that responsibility. But I wouldn't say I would have predicted it, but I'm not too shocked by it. Davis Webb, he's a young mind, and that's what these guys want across the league in the NFL. They want these young minds calling plays and being innovative with, the frame of these offenses, whether it's the Shanahans or the Sean Paytons or whatever the offense is as a base. How can we expand it and go into another realm with this offense? And it seems to be with these young guys. So
I can tell you this. Ain't nobody tell Sean to give up them play calling. It was 100% his decision. You know what I'm saying? I already talked to him today. It was 100% his decision. That's how much he believed in Davis Webb. He wanted to keep him in the building. And if it meant Davis Webb could call the plays, then it meant Davis Webb could call the plays. He trusted him enough to do it last year, but he didn't let him do it. He didn't do it, but he trusted him enough to do it last year. So that's what he did to keep him in the building.
I think he did do it in the precyson game, right? He let Davis.
That's what I'm saying. He trusted him enough to do it last year. Yeah. He let him do it in the preseason game. That's how he gained that trust.
And each week in and week out, he had more and more input with the offense. And now Sean Payton's thinking, damn, this guy knows what the hell he's talking about. Some of these ideas I might not think about with all my experience. So, it speaks volumes about Davis Webb. But I am surprised. I was actually very surprised when Sean Payton mentioned he was going to give up play calling duties. He's been a head coach for 18 years, and really he has been the offensive play caller that entire time. He missed a game with COVID and had the suspension. But outside of that, he's always been the primary offensive play caller, and he's had a ton of success all those years in New Orleans and now with Denver. On top of that, the Broncos were a game away last year, maybe even a foot injury away from going to the Super Bowl. Now, they didn't jump off the stat sheet, offensively, but they still did a lot of things very well. They were top 10 in total offense, averaged 23 points per game. They also had some key injuries to their offense. They had young playmakers on the outside, and they also had 43 drops, which was second in the NFL, but still Sean Payton, Bo Nix, they found a way to work together and create some production on the offensive side of the ball. I know the defense was one of the best in the league, but the offense still played a crucial role in them getting all the way to the AFC Championship game, especially in games like against Buffalo, against Green Bay, against the Commanders in overtime. So I was surprised because of the success that they had. I know it wasn't, a top 5 offense, but I thought Sean Payton would still want to build off of that and keep play calling duties. But what it does tell me, like Akib and TJ are saying, it tells me just how highly he thinks of Davis Webb and what his future is going to look like in the NFL as a coach. Remember, Davis Webb has only been coaching for 3 years. He was a quarterback coach in 2023. He was a quarterback coach in 2024. Then he added pass game coordinator in 2025. And now going into year 4, all of a sudden you become the offensive coordinator and the play caller for a team that is in their Super Bowl window and has a ton of expectations going into next year. That just tells me that Sean Payton, like he mentioned in his interview at the Combine, thinks very highly of Davis Webb and his potential in this league. So, yeah, I hope it works out for him. I'm a fan of the move. I think Akeem made a great point, getting that young mind to come in and maybe add some ideas to an already good offense and a good scheme, and maybe it can unlock something and help them make a Super Bowl run next year. And I already talked about it earlier this season. I think if Bo Nix gets fully healthy and they revamp and keep that defense intact, they're going to be favorites for the Super Bowl in the AFC next season.
So I got to say, Akeem, that I was just shocked by this to the point that I realized you talked to Sean and he said this was strictly his decision, but I'm with TJ on it feels like he at least had to get nudged from upstairs. Just George Payton or Greg Penner, somebody upstairs had to say, think about this. That as Sean said in his Combine interview, he said that they won 11 of 14 games. I kept telling you guys all year, you barely won all these games. 11 of 14 were one-score wins. And Sean said at the Combine, I'm not naive enough to think that those games couldn't have swung the other way. So he's saying at the Combine, we needed to change something on both sides of the ball. And he made a big case for, he said, we had only 14 takeaways on defense, and it was the 4th fewest in the league. And so they went and got Robert Livingston, who didn't work out last year at Colorado, had one good year and one bad year under Dion at Colorado, to replace obviously Jim Leonard on the defensive side. And yet if you look at the scoring differential, so Seattle and Denver both went 14-3, but Seattle won its games by a combined total of 119 points. And your Broncos won your 14 games by a combined total of 90 points. So it was 119-90, and it was a big stretch, big gap. And Bo Nix had a good year, but QBR, your favorite stat, says that he was middle of the pack. He was 15th in QBR, and he was 7th in interceptions with 11. And it just felt like at the end of the year, they clashed a little bit over how much Sean said about all the ankle injuries that Bo had going back to Auburn. And maybe it's good cop, bad cop, where Davis Webb was very close with Bo and he was the good cop. And maybe somebody upstairs just said, hey, you've got to let the kid have a shot with Bo. And yet, to Cody's point, Davis Webb's 3 years a coach and has never called a play except for one preseason game. Bounced around the league as a quarterback, started one game as a quarterback. But Sean Payton is as proud a man on offense as I've ever been around before. 26 years he's called plays in this league. And now at age 62, he just suddenly says, okay, I back off, I give it up. Man, that's just shocking to me. Of all the things that have happened so far in the offseason, that's the one where I say, that just can't be. That can't be right. And I'm not sure it's the best idea for the football team, but it feels like somebody upstairs said, we need to tweak this. And Sean will obviously be involved in the game planning, but he won't have final say on which play gets called. So I just have to believe that somebody in management was at least nudging.
You don't believe me again, Skip. Here you go. You don't believe
even to your point, like, I think that you guys are also surprised because you know that it wouldn't happen under his own, just based on him.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's why we all so surprised. Right. And even if that was not to be true, like if somebody else made me do something that I really didn't want to do, but I'm okay with it, I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, they told me to do it. I'm gonna just be like, all right, yeah, it was my decision. Agreed. I'm the head man. I'm gonna take responsibility for all the good things I do on my team.
Absolutely.
So, I'm not saying that he's totally,
Now you got Bub not believing me, man.
I do. I convinced him.
Hey,
He's a smart man.
I'm telling you, bro. If you see how Sean run that building, Sean run the whole building,
He
man.
does.
You know
That's
how
the point.
do.
That's the point.
Yeah, Skip. You know how some head coaches they run from the top to the bottom. They run everything.
Absolutely.
That's what Sean is in his.
I know. I got it.
If he wanted to call the plays, he would call the plays. He didn't want to lose Davis Webb. I need to keep him in the building. And at the same time, shit, I'm 62 years old. And like Skip said, we could have did a lot better on offense. Shit. Can our offense use a little tweak? Well, let me not be selfish and naive, and let me give this young man a try. He did a fucking great job in the preseason. Let me get him a try. Now, mind you, I'm still going to be on the headset. I'm still going to suggest stuff. I'm still going to be involved in a game plan. He's still going to have his hands all over the fucking offense, Skip. But he
will. Man, should have gave him a shot during the regular season. Everybody get a shot in the preseason. And players don't even be there.
Why should he give him a shot during the regular season? AFC chip.
Why not? Why not?
Chip.
I mean, early in the season, maybe one game here, one game there.
You want him to start it in April, bro. I want you to lock in with Bo, and you find your rhythm starting in April, not in the regular season, bro. That don't even make no sense.
We know preseason don't count.
And to Akeem's point, like this would make more sense if maybe Sean Payton was a younger coach and he didn't have the experience he already had, or maybe they had a bottom 10 offense and they only won 9 or 10 games and they underperformed, but that wasn't the case. Like I mentioned, and I've been critical of this offense all season long, but I still think they deserve a lot of praise for being able to find ways to win certain games. So yeah, I agree. I think this was all Sean Payton saying, look, we're going to keep the same scheme. I'm still going to have my DNA all over this offense. It's what I built, but I want these young offensive coaches that are starting to make way, in the NFL. And I have one right here in our building with Davis Webb. I want him to take over and maybe look at some things differently that I never looked at, and he can make this offense even better than what it is.
Which one of these offensive coordinators that got head coaching jobs that was OC behind the head coach that calls plays, play call? Declan Doyle didn't.
No.
McVay guy didn't. None of them guys called plays as OCs, and they still got head coaching jobs.
They did.
I mean,
wait. So you're saying that the risk? Right? I mean, to PJ's point, are you saying the risk involved is letting?
No, I'm not saying the risk.
He's going to be gone in a year as a head coach.
I'm just saying that I don't think it was that much needed to relinquish that duty if it was all on him.
Hey, Akeem, the biggest bunch of BS so far that I've heard is that Sean Payton is saying we can't let Davis Webb out of the building. Baloney. I'm not. Davis Webb, Davis Smith, Davis Jones. It wouldn't matter. This is Sean freaking Payton we're talking about here. Okay. Some kid who barely played NFL quarterback who's been coaching for 3 years. We can't let him out of the building.
All right, so when we come out and drop 30 a game, 27 points a game, you're gonna be like, oh, that's why they ain't want to let him out.
Oh, okay. He's a genius.
I told your ass again.
He's a hidden genius. Yeah.
I'm telling you, Skip. He got some shit to him. They see it. They like, oh man, he's one of them guys and calling plays, and we know we're gonna lose him eventually because he's gonna be a head coach soon. But before we lose him as an OC, we're going to lose him as a head coach. And we're going to let him be the OC here. I'm telling you.
You don't believe what you're selling right now. I know you, and you don't buy it.
Mark it down, Kenzie.
Yeah.
Type it down, Kenzie, and it's going to be another thing that I told you so, Skip.
Yeah.
But then again, you said they still had the potential to put up a lot of points last year, but, a lot of drops. J.K. Dobbins go down. Now you're down to one back. Ingram don't get no targets. So, it could be a little stuff like that, that made more successful.
A certain way of doing stuff, and it was successful. Shit, when I was a rookie, the Saints was running the South. You know what I'm saying? But this is years later. This is 20 years later. Let a fresh mind get this playbook.
So, wait, are you saying that Sean Payton is over the hill now? You just said that on live right here on Arena Gridiron, right?
How is he over the hill and we was just in the AFC chip?
Well, you just said he needed to be replaced as the play caller.
He didn't want to lose one of these young masterminds in the league. That's
mastermind. How do you know?
We'll see. So would you call him TJ overrated? I didn't say that.
Skip gonna put words in your mouth. You know how Skip. He gonna put words in your mouth. He do.
Yeah, I'm just speaking the words that you will not speak live on this show right now.
All right, Skip.
Yeah.
Mark it down, Kenzie. Just mark it down.
Yeah.
When the Broncos average 28, 29 points a game, top 3 in scoring, Skip gonna be doing this. Know how he get to do it. Davis Webb. This is Davis Webb, guy.
Davis Webb.
He's gonna be the top candidate. I'm just
he's gonna post one of those 37-minute Twitter videos.
Not about the Broncos, I won't, because nobody would watch it because nobody really cares about the Broncos. That's the problem. Yeah, but in the end, I think I was correct. I kept coming in every Monday and saying, you barely won. 11 out of 14, one score wins. And I'd say, impress me. Show me something. Show me some firepower. And I didn't see firepower.
Did they show you something against the Bills?
Green Bay, we lit them up too, Skip. We lit Green Bay ass up.
We lit them up, boy. Lit them up.
Yeah, after Micah blew his knee out, you lit him up. Way to go.
He got crossed over. Bo hit him with that, I ain't trying to laugh at the injury, but he got hit with that dead leg.
He faked him out of his jock strap, and he landed wrong and blew his knee up. He did. You got me.
Oh,
Bo Iverson.
Kenzie, you're muted.
Kenzie?
Uh-oh. She's talking, but we can't hear her.
Oh, really? Okay. All right.
Can you hear me?
There you are.
There we go. Sorry. Okay, so Leave, I got it in the books. Top 3 scoring offense for the Broncos next season. That is some serious hope in Davis Webb. I don't know if I agree with you on this one.
Oh, good. Finally.
Skip, I gotta be honest. That one might not be on board with, but we're gonna find out throughout the season. You better know I'm gonna have that in my notes. Let's move on though. All right, we're always keeping a close eye on who's gonna be starting under center for the Browns. So the GM Andrew Berry was asked what it would take for Shedeur to prove that he will be the Week 1 starter, and I'm gonna pull up this video. Let's see if I can get it. Come on. There we go.
I think the biggest thing that we want to see from Shedeur is just continued growth. I think he grew a lot from start 1 to start 7. I think certainly, playing more efficiency, playing more efficiently, not putting the ball in harm's way as much, would be important. While maintaining the ability to produce out of structure and generate explosive plays. You're not going to see all of that in the upcoming months because we're not on the field. So the biggest thing that he can do is learn the new offense, get in with the coaching staff once our offseason program starts, continue to work on his body physically and then make strides when we actually get on the grass.
All right. Then, of course, we got a comment from the head coach, Todd Monken, and this is what he said, because the situation of the quarterback is all but decided in his eyes. Let's listen to that. Sorry, it's taking a little bit to pull these up.
Giving quarterback is for your starter. Whether we get to that place, I don't know. That'll be determined in the offseason as part of it. It's just another part of the piece. I think it's an open competition. I mean, I don't know why it wouldn't be an open competition. I don't mean that saying it harshly, but I don't think there's enough on film over the last couple of years, one way or the other, to say, boy, we have a starter quarterback yet, whether internally or externally.
Do you feel it's important to add an external quarterback to that mix?
I wouldn't say it's important to, but we're going to do our due diligence to make sure that our roster, that we put ourselves in the best position we can to score points, which starts with that position.
All right. So all but decided. Okay. And then ESPN, Seth Walder, he actually predicted the starting quarterback for the Browns. He predicted the starting quarterback for every NFL team. He said for the Browns, he's going to be Kyler Murray.
Yep.
So, Skip, how confident are you that Shedeur is going to be the starter?
Okay, I'm going to put this on a scale of 1 to 10. My confidence level on Shedeur starting on opening Sunday is at a 2 right now because of the things you just heard. So what did I see last year? Shedeur got to start 7 games, and I'm thankful for that because he was condemned to the 5th round. So I'm grateful he got to put something on tape. And he showed you what he can be at Las Vegas and at home against Tennessee. and in the wins over Aaron Rodgers and over Joe Burrow in Cleveland. He showed you in those 4 games for sure. And he did this, remember, behind the offensive line that Pro Football Focus ranked all year long dead last in the NFL. And he did this with the wide receivers that Pro Football Focus all year long ranked dead last in the NFL. So obviously, I wanted to hear from Monken and the GM Barry at the Combine that this will be Shedeur's job to lose. Shedeur's job to lose. And no, I heard open competition. I heard Deshaun will be in it, and I heard them say that they still love Dylan Gabriel and that he will get an equal chance to win the starting job next year. And I keep reading and hearing from the Cleveland-based reporters who cover the Browns on a daily basis that the Browns are still not convinced that their quarterback of the future is in the building yet. And that led, as Kinsey just pointed out, to Seth Walder on ESPN shocking me by saying, oh, they're going to somehow acquire Kyler Murray to be their starting quarterback. I don't know if Kyler's going to get cut or if they would trade for that massive salary that he will make next year, but that's where Seth Walder went, and I respect him. So in the end, I'm thankful that condemned to the 5th round, he got some chance last year that I didn't think he'd get at all, but I don't love where this is heading next year for Shedeur, and I'm still not sure that his long-term future is in Cleveland, Ohio.
Hey, Skip, that's just if I was the GM, the head coach, or whatever, I would probably say the same thing. It's an open competition. I'm not going to hand the keys to the car to nobody because we only won them 4 games. You know what I'm saying? You started 4, you started 4. We don't have a legit starter right now. In my mind, I may know who's gonna go under center in April the 20th when we start OTAs. Somebody got to go first, and that's gonna be the guy who you see. Oh, he really think this the guy who should be the guy, the person who go first. But that's how you get everything out of the guys, man. You want it to be highly competitive in that building. So I'm not gonna name a starter. Why would I name a starter? I'm gonna say it's wide open. Hey, it's Shedeur's to win. It's Dylan Gabriel got a shot too. Deshaun Watson in here. He got an opportunity. He make the most money. He's the vet. That's just how I'm gonna play it if I'm a GM or a head coach, just like those guys are playing it.
Okay, didn't you think that Shedeur earned at least a slight nod to be the starting quarterback?
Yeah, and the slight nod is going to be who's going first under center in April. I bet you Shedeur goes first. That's the slight nod that he earned. Now you got to go out and earn it again. It's the NFL, Skip. Until you win 11 games and get a contract, and then you get the now I get a sigh of relief. That's what the contract tell you, that I am the starter. They paying me like the starter. They're not paying nobody like they're paying Deshaun like the starter. They're not paying Shedeur like the starter yet, so he got to go earn it. Simple as that.
Yeah, if I don't have a Pro Bowl quarterback, or at least a quarterback that took me deep in the playoffs, it is what it is. The job is open. It's open for competition. That's how you get the best out of your team, especially with a guy like Shedeur. You want him to think that you count against him. That's when the best come out of Shedeur.
Exactly.
Like when you count him out and down, that's when he want to prove you wrong. And I think they know that as a head coach and as a general manager, like, this is how we're going to get the best out of the guy that we want to be our starter, or that we think has earned the starting position. Gabriel, he was a higher draft pick. They split time. He got hurt. We're going to give you an opportunity still to compete for this job. Now, realistically, can you win it? Probably not, unless Shedeur come out here and mess something up, or Watson, does something to fold to both of them. But, at the end of the day, you got to keep a competitive atmosphere, especially with a losing team. We've been losing forever. We're trying to change the culture. The last thing we want to do is provide carte blanche to our starting quarterback like the Miami Dolphins, get A's across the board and still be losing in 7-10. So we're going to create a gladiator mindset with every player that comes in. Nobody's job is safe. Did you make a Pro Bowl? Are you an all-pro? No? Okay. Your job is up for grabs.
Wait a second. Shedeur made the Pro Bowl and started the Pro Bowl. He did.
You're right.
Okay.
He did.
He started the Pro Bowl, and now you're not going to start for the Browns.
But
I got it.
Numbers wise, 10 interceptions, 7 touchdown passes. You know, we gonna need more. We're gonna need more of that. And I know the O-line was trash, and I know the receivers are trash. They job up for the stakes, for the grabs too.
Everybody.
So we just gonna keep it fair across the board. And as NFL, as an NFL player, your job up for grabs year in, year out anyway.
Yeah, they're always trying to replace you. They always want to find that next best thing. Maybe it's on the roster, maybe it's elsewhere. But I think a big factor in all of this is what Andrew Berry does this offseason. Normally, I feel like I can gauge a situation and have an idea of where they're going to go. I have no idea what they're going to do. I don't know if they're going to go get Kyler Murray. I don't know if they're going to try and go get a free agent quarterback like Malik Willis and sign him to the roster, because the Browns right now, I don't want to say are in a desperate situation because they have a solid defense, but offensively right now, there's a lot of doors that they still have to open and a lot of avenues that they could potentially go with this. But if the roster stays the same at the quarterback position with Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders, and Dylan Gabriel, I agree with what Aqib said. I think Shedeur has earned the right to at least start OTAs in the offseason as a number one. He's shown enough good things on film to where he deserves a shot to be the leader in Cleveland. Now, he's got to improve in some areas, and I think this offseason will be great for him to do that. You want to make that jump from year one to year two. You're in a new offense with Todd Monken, who I think does a really good job of tailoring the offense to his quarterback. Just the question is who's going to be that quarterback, right? Because Gabriel, Shedeur, and even Deshaun Watson, who we haven't seen in a couple years, all have a different play style. But I think as this offense evolves, we'll get a better idea of who that quarterback's going to be. One thing with Shedeur, though, I think he needs to improve upon, and Andrew Berry mentioned it, I think for him to take that next step is his decision-making. That is the most important aspect that you have as a quarterback in the NFL, at least on the mental side of things. And there were times last year where I won't say all the interceptions were his fault. There were some times where he was hit, the ball was tipped, but he too many times made bad decisions with the football. But I understand where he's coming from because there wasn't a lot of help around him. So he felt that pressure that I need to do more. But as he develops, hopefully they add some pieces at offensive line. Hopefully they add some pieces at the wide receiver position. He can get more comfortable with just taking a profit and playing in rhythm like he did against Pittsburgh and playing in rhythm like he did against the Raiders and making some of those big time plays and still protecting the football. And then the other thing, obviously, is how quickly can he get acclimated to Todd Monken's offense. But yeah, as of right now, I think Shedeur has earned the right to compete for that starting job. It's just going to come down to what Andrew Berry does this offseason, because there's a lot of different avenues I think they can go with the quarterback position.
Yeah, and to answer the immediate question, if they bring in Kyler Murray, I say it's about 40% Shedeur starts. Kyler Murray, his last full year starting is a dog. He's still a dog. But if they don't bring him in, I say about 60% that Shedeur gets a starting job.
But wait a minute, TJ, they're not going to go get Kyler Murray in that contract and not play him. I mean, come on, man. And by the way, Kyler's last year, I remain a Kyler fan. That last year when he went 8-9-24 as the full-time starter, he was career high 69%, and his QBR ranked 9th in the league. So I thought he was pretty good for a not very good team.
Yeah, 3,800 yards. You said 21 TDs, 11 picks.
Yeah, and not terrible.
If they bring Kyler over, Shedeur's not playing.
What's that?
If they bring Kyler over, Shedeur's not playing. I don't.
Yeah, definitely. He's not. If they go to that length to get him, I don't know what they're going to do with Deshaun's contract. They'd have to do a lot of wizardry to get rid of all this. But in the end, all the smoke coming out of Cleveland from the reporters who are there every day is that they're not sold on Shedeur. It's pretty simple. I think it's cut and dried.
All right. Well, yeah, it's up in the air. And what we've learned about the NFL is that your job is never safe, especially when you're a rookie who you pointed out his interception to touchdown ratio. We need to see more. We don't know what's going to happen in Cleveland, but I want to talk about another quarterback that's up in the air right now. And that is because the Colts have reportedly given QB Anthony Richardson permission to seek a trade. So he started more than 4 games in a season only one time, and he's thrown 13 interceptions to 11 touchdowns. So the good news, though, for the former number 3 pick is he's really young. He's younger than actually every quarterback who started last season, including Shedeur and Drake May. So he's got time. Cody, do you still see Richardson as a franchise quarterback?
I don't know if I see him as a franchise quarterback right now, but I see Anthony Richardson as a guy that deserves another chance to prove that he can be a franchise quarterback. I want to see him get another opportunity outside of Indianapolis. I think that's so beneficial for some of these quarterbacks to have a change of scenery, especially early on in their career, if things don't work out right away, because as coaches, as the media, as fans, we've been so quick to create a narrative about these quarterbacks and write them off because they struggle early on in their career without allowing them to truly develop. And sometimes it might not work out in one place and it might work out for them at another place because they get a change of scenery. Sam Darnold is a perfect example of that. He struggled in New York, had a couple different stops along the way, but now he goes and wins a Super Bowl with Seattle. I'm not saying Anthony Richardson is going to do quite that, but I do think it's early on, so he deserves another chance. And you mentioned it, Kinsey. This is going to be his fourth season, but he's still only 23 years old. He is a young player. On top of that, he's only started 15 games in the NFL. And remember, at Florida, he also only started 13 games. He doesn't have a ton of experience. He wasn't a guy that was a 4-year starter in college and built up, all these things that he did for a long period of time and had big time numbers and big stats. And that's why he went and was drafted in the top 5 of the NFL draft. The Colts drafted him because of the potential that they saw, and he has a ton of that. His ceiling, when it comes to a standpoint or comes to a physical talent standpoint, is off the charts. He can make all the throws on the field, especially pushing the ball down the field. He's 6'4", 240, and he's a phenomenal athlete. He just has to be a little bit better with protecting the football, and he has to be a little bit better with his accuracy. When he started 11 games in 2024, he had a 47% completion percentage. Can throw the deep ball unlike anybody I've seen, but when it's those intermediate, those touch throws, those underneath routes, he's got to be a little bit more pinpoint with his ball placement. That's something that you can improve upon. That comes with reps. That comes with more opportunities. So I think if he goes to the right situation, if he finds a place and a team that wants to trade for him and give him a chance to come in and maybe sit for a year or two or compete to be a starter right away, I think if he's developed the right way, he still could be a franchise quarterback in the NFL. I personally hope he does. I'm a big fan of Anthony Richardson. I hope he gets another opportunity, because another thing I have to add real quick before you guys go, he's also dealt with injuries. His first year, he had a shoulder injury that ended his rookie season. The second year, he had a foot injury, then a back injury, and then multiple other injuries that made him miss some time. And then last year, he had that freak accident with the workout band and had an eye injury and missed 12 games. So even though he wasn't the starter, now he's healthy. Now I think with the right situation, he could absolutely still be a franchise quarterback in this league.
You sound like a fan of Anthony Richardson right there, Cody.
Thank you, man. Hey, you know me. I hate when these young quarterbacks get written off too early. I want to see my guy succeed, man. I want to see him get
I feel that. Well, I've been wrote him off. I ain't never felt like he was a franchise quarterback. I mean, it just don't look like a franchise quarterback, in my opinion, man. You 6-6 in college, you 500, you 8-7 in the league, that's 500. You mentioned all the injuries he got. You know why he got all them injuries? Because he think he a damn running back. That's why, because he always get 1,000 yards rushing, don't he? So you always going to have a goddamn back injury, a hip injury, a shoulder injury, an ankle injury. It's always going to happen because you play running back. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It just don't look like a franchise quarterback to me. You famously known for subbing yourself out the game for being tired. Like, that's just not franchise quarterback energy, in my opinion. And I just never seen franchise quarterback energy from him. So power to him. I hope he goes somewhere. He get behind a good quarterback. He get to learn and develop, and maybe he'll get another opportunity in the future. But from what I seen in college, what I seen his first 3 years in the league, is nothing that says franchise quarterback about this guy.
And we just talked about the combine and the whole evaluation process, right? So it was obviously more than half the teams had him as a first round pick and doing their evaluation. So when you come in, you don't have a successful rookie year, you don't have a great second year. I think that leans to all this capability without development, right? And that goes to some of the coaching, right? Why aren't he reading certain things the right way? Why is he turning the ball over as much? His completion percentage, his touchdown to interception ratio, it's very similar to Sam Darnold. So I think he may have to take that. And if he gets the opportunity to take that Sam Darnold trail, I think he can be very successful in the future. And then it goes again to how are you using him, right? He needs to be used more. I mean, I know you're talking about him getting hurt in running league, but he needs to be Cam Newton. He needs to be dropped back, max protection, and letting that thing ride. I don't want too many route concepts for him. I want to run the ball with Jonathan Taylor and make it easy for him. Digs and posts. That's all I want my receivers run at comebacks, man. We got to be able to run the ball. But, Sam Darnold, his last year in New York, 12 games was similar, 9 TDs, 11 interceptions, only 2,200 yards. That 1 year in Carolina was 13 games, 9 TDs, 13 interceptions. You see what he got? What he got? A full team around him, a coach that knows how to run the offense through the running game, make it easy on my quarterback, and now I got a Super Bowl champion quarterback. So I think he has the potential to be a franchise quarterback, and it's obvious by where he was drafted. Now, some character things or some injuries may have to get that together, but I think he deserves another shot, and I think he can be a franchise quarterback.
Interesting.
I don't. And for once, Aqib Talib nailed what he just said about Anthony Richardson, because
Thank you, Skip.
this is classic combine versus tape. If you just watched him at Florida, 6-6, he just wasn't accurate, and you can't teach it or coach it or sort of will it into him. And I'm with Cody. I'll root for him, and I hope he finds a place in the league. But he's not even in Sam Darnold's universe. I mean, and I was a critic of Sam Darnold's, but Sam Darnold's way better than Anthony Richard has ever thought about being, even when Sam Darnold was at USC. But combine wise, he's 6'4", 244 pounds, ran 4.43, and he went 4th overall. And I got it because the package is all there, except when the football leaves the hand, it's not going exactly where he wanted it to go. And it's hard to improve that, because we did get to see him for one pretty full year. He had 11 starts before he got hurt in 2024. And as Cody pointed out, he was 47.7%, which was dead last in the league in completion percentage, because he's just not accurate. And the intangibles haven't been great, as Aqib pointed out, infamously. And I think if you just watch the tape carefully at Florida, that you're trying to bet on tangibles like measurables that aren't going to equate into actually playing quarterback at the highest level. And I hope somebody brings him along slowly and gives him another shot. But I'm pretty sure he's done in Indy, because they're going to go back to Daniel Jones, and Riley Leonard clearly won the number 2 job. So I hope he can find a place, certainly with his package of tangibles, that he'll get a shot somewhere in the age 23. But I never saw a franchise quarterback before he got drafted. So I'm for once with Aqib on this.
And I don't know if we could put this one on coaches in development, Bud, because Daniel Jones got the same coaches as him. Daniel Jones went from not looking so good. He got over there, and it looked like he developed great.
Yeah,
right?
Well, I mean, he was 8 years in the league, though.
His career, Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, 8 years in the 8 years in the league. We was talking bad about him in New York, and Anthony Richardson, he throwing to Alec Pierce was his number 1 receiver.
Alec Pierce is nice.
Yeah,
nice, but he ain't no number 1.
Alec Pierce is nice.
Alec Pierce.
He get number 1.
You're getting bullied right now.
They jumping me. They jumping me.
He is the number 1. He's nice. He finna out of all these free agent receivers, Alec Pierce gonna be the top one.
The Colts make the playoffs.
He will be.
Okay, but Cody, what do you think then? Richardson or Malik Willis?
Based off of right now?
Nah, Cody, based off of
2 years ago works
Based
for
off
me.
of 5 years from now? No, right. I mean, if right now this offseason, obviously I'd go Malik Willis. Anthony Richardson's been hurt. He hasn't played a lot. He hasn't had a start since 2024. He's had some injuries. Malik Willis is trending in the right direction. And Malik Willis is a great example. Spent 2 years in Tennessee, was terrible and wasn't in a great situation. I'm not saying that Indy was the same situation as Tennessee, but now you give a young quarterback a change of scenery. He learns under Matt LaFleur. He learns behind Jordan Love. He gets around a winning organization. And the next thing that you know is he's showing some flashes against the Bears. And then he gets a start against the Ravens and he looks great. And now he's probably going to get close to $30 million a year this offseason to go be a starter somewhere else. So yeah, if I had to pick right now, I would go Malik Willis, but a couple of years, I might change my answer if Anthony Richardson goes to a great situation and can develop the same way.
What do you think?
He needs to go. I'd send him to Frisco, get behind Purdy, learn from Shanahan.
Go to a McVay offense, sit around a little bit with some of those guys. Shane Steichen's a play caller.
Change his life.
But that's been the recipe for success for some of these young guys that need to go somewhere else.
A lot of them. I'll take Malik Willis, man. I just like his style of play better. You know what I'm saying? Move in the pocket, look to throw the ball downfield. He's not trying to be a running back. He runs when he has to. I just like his style of play better. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really high on either one of the guys, but Malik Willis, he throws less interceptions, and it's just a style of play. It's the eye test for me. You know what I'm saying?
I like Malik Willis too, man. Right now, I agree with y'all. But Anthony Richardson, he does need to know when to throw the ball. He's not a running back. You get this big size, and sometimes you forget you in the NFL, and like this ain't college, so you're gonna get hit and you're gonna get hurt. So I think Malik Willis obviously has learned in his 3 years in the league how to run when I need to run, get rid of the ball when I need to get rid of the ball, and throw and try to make completions when I need to do that. That's why his interceptions have fallen drastically. It takes a little time, the right coach.
Yeah. By the way, I saw the other day that Dan Graziano, my friend at ESPN, said on the air that he saw Malik Willis commanding $30 million on the free agent market. And I'm like, 30, he could get more than that. He'd get 35, 40, because that's the going rate, man. And he's
they need
the
to
guy.
stop going with them rates for them quarterbacks, man. You don't need to pay your quarterback. Give it to the rest of the team. Get you a good quarterback. Pay your defense. Your offensive and defensive line. Secondary.
Now, I think they deserve it though. The quarterback is just the hardest position, and it ain't even close. So
yeah.
And to your point,
minimum is higher than our minimum.
Yeah.
But the teams that's winning is with the quarterbacks that aren't over budgeted.
Yeah, but to Skip's point, if there was a bigger sample size instead of just one start against the Ravens, 2 starts the year prior, and coming in relief for Love against the Bears, it probably could be upwards of 35 maybe, and potentially even higher if it was a full year of starting and say Love got hurt and he had to do all that. But the fact that it's such a small sample size, I don't know if he'll be able to exceed that number, but hopefully he does, man. I want all those guys to get paid. I think he deserves it.
Okay. By the way, the highest paid player in the National Football League going into 2026 will be Dak Prescott of the Dallas Cowboys, just for the record.
Yeah, y'all ain't winning no chips soon.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you.
Yeah, all right.
You guys got a lot of cash tied up. That's an issue.
Yeah.
Who are you taking, Skip, Malik or Anthony?
Oh, I got Malik. I mean,
Okay.
by far. I thought he was really good in the 3 games I saw him play for Green Bay. Like,
He
really
looked good against that Ravens game. He looked really good in the Ravens.
He was really good against the Ravens, and they lost, but it wasn't because of him.
All right, seems like not even a question on that one, but that'll do it, you guys, for another episode of the Arena Gridiron. We are working hard on the studio, you guys.
We are.
All built. It is going to be sexy, so don't give up on us. We are going to be back in studio so soon. I miss these guys, but thank you so much for watching another episode. We will see you back on Monday. Woo woo!
Whoa.